What's going on, everybody? PJ here. Just playing around with the Delta Loop and the end fed here. And what I'm doing is actually doing, I could get somebody else to help me, but it's easier if I can see it myself. So what I'm using is the Web SDR in Georgia on 40 meters. That way their receive antenna is showing what they're getting real time. So when I talk, you'll see this meter go up. And what we're going to do is we're just going to see how the transmit on the end fed compares to the delta loop. Now, a lot of things come into play here, propagation and all that stuff, so it's not super scientific, but it's letting me know, and I've done this multiple times, and it's always about the same ending. So just want you to see kind of what the difference is in between, because the 40 meter is a resonant antenna, the end fed is a 49-to-1 fed, unning, ballon, whatever you want to call it. It you know, does multi-bands, and works. Both of them receive really well. The Delta Loop, not all the time, but it's most of the time, gets a little better receive than the end fed. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it's more in favor of the end fed, sometimes more in favor of the Delta Loop, but usually the Delta Loop always comes out better. But I have noticed, though, and by people talking to me, that the Delta Loop hits them harder than the end fed. So that tells me I'm either getting more power out, it's more efficient. But anyway, I'll quit talking so much before somebody actually takes over my frequency that I'm trying to test on, and we'll just see what happens. I mean, like I say, not super scientific. This is in Georgia on 40 meters. Sound like somebody getting ready to take over this frequency. So give me just a second. We'll listen. And what I'll do is I'll just call out on the end fed first. See if anybody's on here. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan is the frequency in use. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan is the frequency in use. That's the end fed. I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to be on a delta loop. I don't know if you can hear the difference in the noise that comes up on the delta loop when I do that, but it's picking up more resonant frequencies. So it should be, it's a quieter antenna than like a dipole or something, but on here you can tell it, the signals go up when I flip it and everything. But anyway, here we go. AK4PJ testing, AK4PJ testing, AK4PJ testing. Now, if we go back and forth, I'll do it again here in just a second, because just so we can see, I don't want to make this a super long video. It's just a little comparison, nothing scientific or anything like that. But I wish I had my dipole hooked up so I could actually test it too, just to see what the difference is. It's another resonant antenna. Right now, all I've got is the delta loop and the end fed half wave. So a full wave antenna and a half wave antenna with a multi-band configuration on the ballon. This is the end fed again. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan testing. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan testing. So spiking at what? Maybe if that's 10, somewhere around 15 to 17 dB on their side. Now we'll go here. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan testing. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan testing. And now part of that probably propagation wasn't picking it up till later, but we'll see. That's why I'm doing it multiple times. It still went over 20 dB. Not sure. I have to watch the video. Maybe close to 30 dB. So almost 15, 10 to 15 dBs more on the delta loop. I'm gonna do it one more time, just because propagation and everything's gonna play a part in this. So I mean, basically anything can steal my signal in between here and there. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan testing. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan testing. That's the end fed half wave. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan testing. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan testing. That is the delta loop. Okay. Now I'm going to relinquish the frequency for that. Alpha Kilo 4 Papa Japan clear. And like I say, it's not scientific, just playing in between these two antennas. The infed works good. Like here, I'll get you this. I've been wanting to do a video on this. I'm just not sure how to actually go about it without making it super long. Because now, even though you've seen that on the transmit part, yeah, let's not get on that one. There's always somebody on that one. Now these guys are always on here during the day, and some of them's different. Now the infed and the delta loop, so there's not like a big difference in him on the receive. So this right here is the infed. Okay, that right there is the delta loop. Now you see how much he goes up? Okay, I'm not sure where he's in, but he's probably within the 100 to 500 mile range, I'm sure. Infed. And he's peaking, you know, at like 9. So he's still got a good signal. This is the delta loop. So, like I say, the receive, and he's only one guy to compare it to. I could keep on doing that on signals, and it'll be a lot the same. It's not like a huge difference on the receive. But just like Henry said, AG4QG, he said, it's not the receive you need to test, it's the transmit. Now, will that 10 dB of transmit that you've seen on there make a difference in contacts? I'm gonna say probably yeah, because it already has. Like I've had DX stations that I couldn't get on the infed, and I'll flip over to the delta loop and they pick me up. Same with their signal. Like I can flip to the infed on some DX stations and they disappear, and then flip to the delta loop and they come back and I can hear them. So when it's like down, like up here, it doesn't matter. There's not much difference in a receive. But when it's down here, sometimes it's big. Like that needle won't even move on the infed. It'll be down there. I can probably still hear them a little bit, but then I'll flip it to the delta loop and it'll come up to about 2 or 3. So, you know. Well, we're just talking a few dBs on that, but on the receive. But on transmit, I do believe that it does a little better. Sorry for the shaky camera. I got to get me another little tripod or something. But just wanted to put that on there, just a little short video. And I know there's a lot at play here. There's so much stuff that's involved in antennas, and that can, you know, what I keep calling steal your signal. You know, I mean, propagation, I mean, everything about the weather, I mean, good ground, everything. I mean, it just, you know, the takeoff, how high you've got the antenna versus how low you have the antenna, all kinds of stuff. These two antennas are about the same as far as that. Not really. One's horizontally polarized or horizontally hung at 20 feet. The other one is a dipole configuration, which is the infed, which is about 30 feet to the center of the peak. So I mean, not really comparable, because if I was to like strand the infed horizontally at 20 feet, I'd like to see how it works in comparison, because changing the way that antenna is hung is a big thing too. I noticed that when I was playing with it. I changed it like 7 or 8 times, and with the infed, the dipole seemed to get me the best signal. But anyway, like I say, what this is about though is the signal out. Now, like I say, this isn't scientific, but based on the web SDR in Georgia, or even the guys around here when I'm talking to them, you're talking quite a bit of difference on my signal to them. They're getting a lot more signal of me to their stations. So that could just be the delta loop now. But I think it's got a lot more to do with resonant antenna, because a resonant antenna, you're just getting out more, efficient signal, more usable signal, because you're not acquiring all those losses with all the transforming and all that stuff. So, but anyway, not to make this super long, just a little short video. I'm gonna do a little bit more test with it and stuff, and playing around with it. I'm gonna try to get me some coax, hook up my dipole just to see what the difference is in that versus this. And like I say, this is just the way I like to test it, or found to test it, because right now I could call somebody and say, hey, and it'll be like, oh, well, you jumped this, like, whatever. But this allows me to see in real time what my signal is doing for somebody else. Anyway, y'all have a good day. Just a little short video playing around with the Delta Loop and the in-fed half wave. 73s to all of you. AK4PJ.